Psychological facts about personality. Most of the core parts of your personality will remain the same throughout your life. Personality changing over time is a myth. Optimistic people generally have a higher quality of life than pessimists on average. Men are not generally funnier than women. However, men tend to crack more jokes, not caring about how funny they are. It only takes 4 minutes for you to decide if you're interested in someone or not. The more people swear, the more loyal they are in interactions with friends, family members, and even strangers. Trying to humiliate others is one of the telltale signs of low self-esteem. Humiliating others helps them manage their insecurities. According to multiple studies, saying thank you frequently makes others see you as the one person. The more attractive you are, the less likely you are to get a job that is typically associated with masculinity. This fact is even truer for females. Smarter people tend to think a lot faster, and the faster a person thinks, the worse the handwriting looks. Your terrible handwriting must not be bad anyway. The attitude of a person towards a waiter at a restaurant says a lot about their personality. Doing the things that scare you the most will generally make you happier upon completion. Intelligent people tend to have fewer friends because they tend to be more selective of who they let into their lives. People who speak more than one language will often change their personalities as they change what language they are speaking. Your true personality is the one that you assume at your most emotional state. An individual's social role will have a direct impact on their personality. That explains why school prefects look more confident than regular students. The personality of an individual is shaped by more external factors than internal factors. We are not born with our personality. A person's role within their family will greatly impact the role they assume in the world. An authoritative sibling will likely be authoritative in the real world too. Humans tend to remember and in certain cases obsess over unfinished things. A person's Facebook profile is a fairly accurate way to determine their real-life personality. People who consider themselves as dog people are more likely to be extroverted, while cat people usually have more introverted tendencies. While people are unlikely to change dramatically, they tend to become nicer as they grow older. Birth order is one of the key influences of personality in humans. It takes about 66 days for the average person to make something a daily habit. People who naturally use sarcasm to answer serious questions generally have healthier minds than people who don't. Shy people generally tell others a bit about themselves. However, they are experts at doing this in a way that will feel like the listener knows a lot about them. People tend to read faster with longer lines, but they generally prefer shorter lines in a text. According to multiple studies, people in a position of power and influence are usually poor in determining the emotions of others. In any negative scenario, you are more likely to lay the blame on others than you are to admit to blame. A tragedy affecting a single person will likely affect you more emotionally than one affecting multiple people at once. The people surrounding you during your early growth period will likely affect your personality the most. Women are generally empathic and more emotional than their male counterparts. They also tend to be more dependent. While girls aren't inherently smarter than boys, they tend to put more effort into standing out, which translates to better grades. Kids with good role models generally grow to become wiser and more intelligent than kids without people to look up to. People who like bitter-tasting food tend to be more narcissistic in nature, while people who dislike them are generally more agreeable. People with aggressive personalities are more likely to suffer a chronic disease like heart disease. Higher levels of happiness directly correlates with the need to sleep less. The sadder you are, the more you need to sleep. Having the personality trait linked with entitlement will often lead to chronic disappointment. People tend to judge strangers based on their body shape, smell, and dress even before they get to know them. Negative thinking isn't always your fault. In some cases, it's a result of a gene you inherited from your parents.